All right, legends, welcome on in. We are doing a yes. You cannot have that, unfortunately. We're here today to do some footy tips for round one. We didn't really do them for opening round because it got completely canned and the whole round basically was cut in half. So basically today, what we are here to do is go through the list of the games coming up for round one. You guys can't even see what that is, but I'm going to go through each game and I'm just going to try and tip a winner, and then we'll look back throughout the year at how our guesses have gone. Winifred wants that footy so bad. Anyway, we're going to get stuck into it. So, obviously, the opening game is Carlton and the Tigers at the MCG on Thursday night. The traditional opener for round one. It should absolutely be the normal opener for the season. But anyway, I'm going to tip the Blues, who are $1.05 to $10.50 favourites. I actually think the Tigers will probably come out in the first quarter and go reasonably well. It's always that thing with the young teams. They've got a couple of old bodies in there, but they've lost a lot of experience in the off-season. So I think that they'll come out and have a hot crack in the first quarter, and then they'll fade away in the last three. And I think the Blues will probably win by 10 goals plus. You cannot have it. You're not having a hard ball get today. And then the next game we're looking at is Friday night, is the Hawks and the Bombers at also the MCG. So that should be a good game too. That's always a good rivalry, those two. So I'm looking forward to seeing that game as well. I think the Hawks will win that, but that's a much more closely knit game compared to the other one. So I think the Hawks will do kind of what they did with the Swans the other night. They'll have a bit of a rocky start. They'll have a few blokes that probably go missing, and then I think that they'll just overrun the Bombers late. I think that the Hawks this season are going to be one of the vast improvers, even though like halfway through last year they were garbage, and then all of a sudden they were really, really, really good. So I think they're going to continue the hot form that they finished with last year. You know, they only lost to Port in under a goal in a semi-final last year. They could have gone to a prelim, and you know, who knows what could have happened from there. So I'm going to tip the Hawks by about 4 goals over the Bombers. And then we go to Saturday, 12:50 p.m. It's the Cats and the Dockers at GMHBA Stadium. You'd expect Freo to come out to GMHBA and try and put up a bit of a fight, but I think the Cats are just going to be too strong in their home soil. They have too many class players. They've had a couple of good pickups. I'm very interested to see how Bailey Smith goes for his new club. If this is how I was going to get Winifred to be in every video, this is what I should just do from now on, is just leave a footy sitting right there. She loves football and she loves playing with them too. Those ones are up on my shelf over here. They're lucky to be alive right now, those footies. But I'm going to tip the Cats by probably 3 or 4 goals as well. I think that they're just going to be too strong on their home deck. And yeah, I'm very keen and interested to see how Bailey Smith goes. Coming back from an ACL tear last year. I've got him in my fantasy team, so I hope he does really well. But that being said, I don't think the Cats will beat them by as much as most people think they will. But again, I'm sort of just half guessing here. So we'll move on to the Swans and the Lions, the grand final rematch over in Sydney. And the Lions are actually favourites to win this, $1.77 to $2.10. From what I saw from the Swans the other night, they weren't too bad. But it's also that thing, like, they have a new coach, and it's always hard when you come in with a brand new coach, with a new game plan. You've come off a just over 10 goal grand final loss, like you've been spanked in a grand final. I think that's a pretty hard thing to come back from initially. So I'm going to tip the Lions to beat them in their second game at home for the season. I think the Lions will be refreshed and ready to go, whereas the Swans played a pretty hard game last week against the Hawks in the wet. I think they're going to be pretty tired from that. So I could, again, probably completely wrong, but I'm going to tip the Lions by only about 10 points to win that game. I think it'll be a nice close one again. The Swans sort of put up a good effort late against the Eagles, but then very late the Eagles kicked the last few and just blew it out a bit. We're going to move over to the Western Bulldogs versus North Melbourne. It's going to be so nice to be able to react to a bunch of these videos. If you haven't followed my TikTok, make sure you do, because I'll post all my reactions to these videos throughout the year. I'll try and watch as many games as I can this year and react to them. But the Bulldogs and North Melbourne, I think it's a pretty easy tip. North and Richmond, I think, will be the two teams this year that win the least amount of games. I'd love to see some more improvement from North. I think they got Darling, they got Caleb Daniel, they got Luke Parker, so they have picked up some experience and some good players. Just don't know how they're going to gel with the young guys in that team, but they got some young studs that should go well this year. But I will pick the Bulldogs coming off a elimination final loss last year. Made finals. Had a hell of a good run running into the finals, I think, last year. They won like 6 in a row or something. So, in terms of pickups, I can't remember what the Bulldogs picked up in the off-season, if they had any big pickups or not. I know they lost Bailey Smith, but he didn't play at all last year, so they'll probably be used to that anyway. That doesn't really affect them too much. But yeah, we'll tip the Bulldogs by about 40 points, I reckon, over North. But I am I'm going off based what North were like last year. You know, they might be a lot better this year with the preseason they've put into those younger bodies, and they might have put on a bit more muscle and might actually be able to run out of game a bit better this year. We move over to the Collingwood Magpies versus Port Adelaide at the MCG for round 1. That's actually one that I don't really know about. The Pies didn't really impress me with what they put up against the Giants last week in Sydney. Now, that being said, Collingwood never have to travel, and this is the one time they actually had to travel, so maybe that had a bit to do with it, but I don't really know, so I'm going to back the Pies in. But for me, this is like a real 50-50 one. Like, I really don't know who's going to win this game. I could easily see Port coming out and just jumping them from the start, like the Giants did, and the Pies just can't catch up. They looked pretty slow. They looked like they had some old legs out there. You got Sidebottom, you've got Pendles, guys that are well into their 30s heading towards 40, and Winifred's just entertaining herself now. Thanks, Winnie. Still in the show. So I'll pick the Pies by about a goal, but I could easily see Port blowing them out as well. All right, we'll move over to Sunday. Adelaide Oval. It's the Crows versus the Saints at 12 o'clock our time. Crows $1.37 to St Kilda $3. I think that's probably about right. I think the Crows should win this game. Taking my Crows bias away and trying to ignore that, I think that they should get up by about 4 to 5 goals on their home deck. They've picked up 3 or 4 decent players. Cummings, they've picked up Neil Bullen, and they picked up one more. Not Peatling. Picked up Peatling as well. So they look like they're going to have a good year this year, the Crows. Hopefully they play finals. And I think beating the Saints by about 5 goals is a really good way to get their finals chances off and running, sort of thing. So fingers crossed the Crows do that. I don't know if I see the Saints coming over here and beating them. Saints don't necessarily travel too well. They always seem to lose to Port and the Crows at the Adelaide Oval, but I could be wrong there. But we'll move over to the next game, which I think will probably be close to game of the round, barring the grand final rematch. But it's the Giants and the Demons, which I think is like a really, really close one, and I don't know who to pick for this. I genuinely don't know. It's going to be played at the MCG, but the Giants are actually favourites coming into this game, $1.84 over the Ds at $2. But I'm probably going to go with the Ds just because of that air of you don't know what they're going to put up. The Demons are so, like, almost unpredictable. You're either going to get a red-hot Ds or you're going to get a stone-cold Ds, and I don't know what we're going to get this week. But first game of the year, everybody's relaxed and recovered from everything from the year before. You've got a fresh Gawn, you've got a fresh Oliver, who's apparently killed it in the off-season. You've got Petrarca, who's come back, who looks ready to go. They got some good forwards, they got some good mids, they got some very good backs. So, and I don't know if Hogan and Stringer are playing this week. I haven't heard. But provided they're not, I'm going to pick the Ds to win by a couple of goals. And the final game of the round is the West Coast Eagles versus the Gold Coast Suns at 5:40 Adelaide time in Perth. Doesn't really matter who wins this, but I'm going to tip the Suns to win just because the Eagles lost 2 really good defenders last year, and the Suns have picked up some decent players in Rioli and Noble and stuff like that. So I'll tip the Suns to win by about 5 goals up there. So let me know what your tips are in the comments below and tell me if I'm an idiot, if I've got no idea, which I'm sure I have no idea. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. It'd be great to hear some comments from you guys. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you guys next week where we review these tips. And then a couple of days later after that, we'll put some in for round 2. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. Peace. Winifred. Win. Win. Say goodbye. Come here. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Up. Up. Say bye, everybody. Say bye. All she wants is that footy. Should we see if she can catch it? All right, ready? What's this? What's this? Ready? All right, ready? Stay. Catch. Sometimes, hey, come here. Sometimes she can. Come here. No, give me the ball. Ready? I'll see if she'll do it. Ready? While the camera's on. Sit. All right, ready? go. She caught it. What a mark. What a grab. I'll have to check the replay on that, but she definitely did get the arms around it. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Love it now. Peace. That ball's going to die.